Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And this is the State of the Saints podcast live. Good morning to you. I'm actually recording this on a Wednesday morning. So just wanted to take the time out to tell you all, thank you all very much for checking out this video, this live stream. And, it's been a rough week for everybody, of course. The tragic death of Kobe Bryant has taken over the airways and has really captured the hearts of so many individuals out there, man, putting their own life into perspective. A lot of my content has been focusing on Kobe Bryant, man. I'm a Saints fan at the end of the day, but all in all, Kobe Bryant was just an amazing guy, man, just an amazing athlete. I was just thinking about this all week long, since it happened. Kobe Bryant, honestly, man, this guy lived a novel, like one of those like novels that you read, and it talks about, life and tragedy and triumph. I mean, this guy went through it all. I mean, it's amazing that he was only 41 years old. I mean, this dude came into the league when he was 17 years old, took the league, by storm, won a championship in 2000. Then, of course, we know about all the stuff that happened out there in Colorado and, him rising above that, man. The dude was just a champion, not only, on the court, but off the court as well. And I know a lot of people, gave the dude flack while he was alive. And I want to be honest with you, I never really was that big of a Kobe Bryant fan. I mean, did I like him watching him play? Absolutely. He was incredible. But when I think about it, I don't want to say like he was just like one of my favorite all-time players and stuff like that, but he was an all-time great. You see a guy, like I said, who went through so much tragedy in his life, that could have easily been one of those guys that we could have easily been saying what if about. And I mean, this dude almost lost everything, man. I mean, he almost lost the respect of everybody, almost lost his wife. But he fought for everything that he had, man. And, everybody's talking about that Mamba mentality, talking about the lifestyle that he lived by. I think that we all need to have Mamba mentalities, when we capture everything. I think the one thing that I've learned about this is the fact that I want to work harder. This motivated me to want to work hard because people were talking about, how hard that Kobe Bryant worked, how hard he went every single day. This made me want to, put my life into perspective, make me want to put out more content, make me want to be the best radio broadcaster I can be. As of right now, I'm at the radio station right now prepping for my 2:00 afternoon show, and just makes me want to, make sure I'm putting out better content to the community and also to everybody that watch my videos and listen to my podcast, man. So, I mean, the Mamba mentality is real, and I feel that. And I'm also just thinking about his family, man, the people, that's affected by this, not just his family, but all the people's family who's dealing with this tragedy right now, man. But, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. I want to thank him for the memories, and the hearts that he captured all around the world. I know a lot of people. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. His memory will indeed live on. I'll open the floor up to you guys, man. If you got any questions, anything like that about the New Orleans Saints, just let me know. You can comment down. Go ahead and get started on this. Primetime asks, do you think Sean's going to give up that playbook? And if so, who would you think can do a spread offense? To be honest with you, I don't think that Sean Payton going to be giving up anybody's offensive playbook. I think that he thinks that he's one of the best play callers in football, which he is. I don't have a problem with Sean Payton as a play caller. I just feel like Sean Payton doesn't rely too much on the run, and that really makes me upset. That really ticks me off, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sean Payton just needs to commit to the run. I mean, he can call plays, but I just think that he just get too Drew dependent because I guess Drew is the, what got him there. So he don't want to try to shy away from that. But I'm on record as saying the Saints ain't going nowhere if they're not running the football. They're not going anywhere if they don't commit to the run. So we can be up here, we can say who that all day and night. We can talk about, the Saints going to Super Bowl, this, that, and the third, but it ain't happening. It ain't happening until they commit to the run. Like, we got to be real, man. We can be fans, but we can be real at the same time. The New Orleans Saints ain't winning nothing if they not committing to the run. And we playing ourselves if we feel like that's going to happen, because it won't. I mean, Sean Payton can rely on Drew Brees all he wants to, but a 41-year-old quarterback throwing the ball around 45 times in the game is not going to get you anywhere. It's going dancing around our living room and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. So it's best if he stop wasting our time, wasting his time, and they're not going anywhere. I'm just being honest. My whole week has been so sad. I can't even watch ESPN or anything. I couldn't even watch the Pro Bowl because I was so sad. Then to hear his daughter was on a plane is just heartbreaking. The Super Bowl not that interesting to me. Not Kobe. Yeah, Octavia, you're absolutely right. I think about this, like I said, I just think about my whole entire life. I just kind of put that into perspective, and you really start valuing the things that matter, and you really don't want to squander any minutes. And to be honest with you, I wake up every day with a new zest on life, just trying to go out there and trying to be the best version of myself I can be. And as far as his daughter is concerned, I mean, I think that's any parent that values their kids, that love their kids. Like, if somebody walk in with a gun and they say they about to shoot, about to shoot somebody, and knock on wood that ever happened to anybody, you would say, man, if your child is in there with you, man, take my life, not my child's. And you wouldn't even hesitate to do that. That's what a parent's main goal is, to protect their kids from some of the things that they go through. I know that's one of my, one of the things that, I want to do. I want to protect my son from anything. It hurts me when he gets a cold. You know what I'm saying? He coughing and sniffling and stuff. I wish I can have his cold or feel some of the pain that he endures. I wish I can put that all on myself. And to know that Kobe Bryant, passed away with his daughter, and I'm pretty sure if it was anything he could have done to save his daughter's life, I'm pretty sure he would have did it. So it's sad. And I feel that as a parent, I feel that as a parent, and I'm pretty sure people that's listening or viewing this video right now, I'm pretty sure you can feel that as a parent too. You never want your kids to experience that type of pain or any pain at all. You try to take all of the pain away from them. And I think the worst feeling in the world is a parent that has to bury their own child. And I only can feel what Vanessa is feeling right now. I mean, not only are you burying your own child, but you're burying your husband as well. My goodness. Let's see. Angela, agree. No run game, no success in the long term. Angela, you're absolutely right. If we're not running a football, we're wasting time. It's time out to stop for sugarcoating in the Who Dat Nation. It's time out for sugarcoating. We've been sugarcoating for quite too long. It's good to have optimism. I think everybody in the Who Dat Nation has optimism, but we need some realism as well. You look at the New Orleans Saints back in 2009. They ran the football, top 5 in rushing. They ran the football. You're not going to go anywhere without running the football. You look at the playoffs. Most of the teams that generated success, for the exception of the Kansas City Chiefs, have been running the football. And he needs to get the memo because he's wasting everybody's time. And the most frustrating about all of this, and I said this on a few podcasts before, is just the fact that we know he can commit to the run. Because when Drew Brees went down in those 5 games that Teddy Bridgewater started, the Saints were running the football and they had a very balanced attack. I mean, you had Latavius Murray, I think, against the Chicago Bears, ran for 110 yards. He was running for over 100 yards and averaged over 159 yards of total offense all in the field, in the absence of Alvin Kamara and the absence of Drew Brees. So Sean Payton can implement the run game. He just doesn't want to. And, one thing that really bothers me, I was looking at this interview yesterday with Alvin Kamara, And he was, they asked him about the Minnesota Vikings game. And he also chimed in a little bit about the San Francisco 49ers game. And he said, like, how did y'all end up, like, having so much success against the 49ers? And, one thing that Alvin Kamara said, he went to a team meeting. And he said that Sean Payton was talking about them throwing the ball over the heads of the 49ers because you can't run on them. I feel like there's nothing in life that I don't feel like I can do. Okay? I'm pretty sure I can't do everything, but that's just the arrogance in me. That's just the confidence that I have that I can do anything. And I feel like for you to say, we're not going to run the football today because this team is just too good on the run of football against, that's basically saying like you don't think your team is good enough to run the football. That's just my opinion. Okay? And I feel like you can't have that type of mentality. You think that the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan don't think that teams know that they want to run the football getting off the bus? The next question I would ask is, do you think he cares? Do you think that Kyle Shanahan cares that people know that he wants to run the football? Absolutely not. It's my team against your team. It's mano y mano. My offensive line is better than your defensive line, and we're going to run this ball down your throat, and there's nothing you can do about it. And even if you stop us, we're going to still run the football. Sean Payton doesn't have that mentality. He's too impatient. He does not sit back and allow the defense to get tired. If I was a defensive player going up against the Saints, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Because all I know is I just got to pin my ears back and I can get to Drew Brees. I ain't got to worry about getting smashed into because the running game is going to pick up. I mean, that's what any defensive lineman will tell you. Around the third and the fourth quarter, the running back running, into you, play after play after play, you start wearing down. And eventually, the running game in the fourth quarter starts to pick up. Once again, if you're just joining this, I'm going to say it again. If the Saints don't run the football, we in the Who Dat Nation are wasting our time and thinking that they're going to win the Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl because it's not happening. We are wasting our time. The O-line isn't even structured so as to make you think he plans runs, all about pocket pass and protection. We never have offensive guards or offensive tackles that can create lanes to open up for our running game. Angela, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yes, they do. The Saints were running football last season when Mark Ingram was there. You know what I'm saying? When Mark Ingram was running the football along with Alvin Kamara, they was getting yardage. Okay? And any offensive lineman, they'll tell you they rather run protect than pass protect. They will tell you those things. So the way that I look at it is very, very simple. The Saints offensive line have the tendency of run blocking. Okay, I mean let's go down the line here. Let's run it back. All right, Larry Warford. Larry Warford was picked up in free agency by the Saints. Came from the Detroit Lions. The year before he came to the New Orleans Saints, the Detroit Lions finally had 1,000-yard rushing. Okay, so what that tell you right there? He can run block. Ryan Ramczyk. Ryan Ramczyk came from the University of Wisconsin. Look up the University of Wisconsin. They always keep, all-time leading FCS running back on their squad. And they always have a quality offensive line. And all they do is run the ball. So we know Ryan Ramczyk can do it. Eric McCoy. Eric McCoy, he was known for his run blocking in college. I mean, you look at Andrews Pete. I mean, he went to Stanford. They ran the football. I mean, I didn't know that much about Teron Armstead. I mean, I know he played in the SWAC at Arkansas Pine Bluff, but these guys can run protect. And any offensive lineman to tell you they want to run, they would rather teams run the football because they like that. You know what I'm saying? They like that element. Holding guys into place, guys trying to rush at you and stuff like that. Dudes get trampled on. You know what I'm saying? People running over your legs and stuff like that. It leaves you more open to getting injured. So any offensive lineman will tell you that they would rather run the football than to pass it. So they are structured to run the football. I mean, you look at those guys down the line, look at their backgrounds. I mean, they can run protect. The thing about it is, Angela, you never see it that much. So you just, come to that conclusion. But those guys are really, really good on the offensive line. And I don't think the Saints do their best to utilize the talents of these guys. Worst fear of a parent is not being able to protect them. Greg, absolutely. That's the worst fear of a parent, is to not to be able to protect your kids. Man, that's the worst thing. And honestly, not being able to help them in a time, when they really need you is one of the most awful experiences ever. My mom used to tell me that all the time. If I can get personal with y'all just for a second, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I grew up in poverty, man. Grew up in the Ninth Ward in New Orleans, and having two brothers and a sister, four of us, it was hard. And sometimes we used to ask my mom for things. I mean, we were young at the time, and we didn't know about finances and stuff like that. And sometimes my mom, she'll get a little bit upset. We ask for things, but as we got older, she would tell us, she was like, the worst thing in the world is when y'all used to ask me for stuff, and I used to get angry. I used to pretend sometimes. She's like, because I used to be so hurt, that I couldn't do some of those things for y'all. And she said, it's just the fact of a parent just feeling helpless and wanting to help their kids and can't. I really didn't understand that at the time. I was like, I think we were old enough to understand, we understood what the situation was. I mean, we weren't naive kids like that. But to grow up now, and understand, that you want what's best for your kids and you want their lives to, exceed your life. You want them to learn from the mistakes that you made. I always say that life is nothing but one big cycle. We live our lives for others. In this case, we live our life for our kids in order for us to have those hardships and have those mistakes. And, for us to grow from them and be able to have those as teachable lessons for our kids. But, you just never want to be put in that position, long story short, but I have the best mom in the world. So I know she probably going to watch this video. She probably watching it right now, or she going to watch it later. But I love her very much. I have the best mom in the world. She took care of us, single parent. And, we didn't have a lot, but at the same time, we had a lot. And I love you for that, man. I really do appreciate that. I'm glad I'm not the only one who has zero interest in the Super Bowl. Tamara, yeah. I'm kind of on the fence with it. I don't feel the same way like I did last year. I can care less. I still haven't watched that Super Bowl. And to be honest with you, it didn't seem like too much went on anyway. Seemed like they kind of turned back the clock, went back to 1962 when it came to, playing football. But, to be honest, I'm not that petty, when it comes to this. Am I going to watch it? Yeah, I'm going to check it out. I don't have anything against Patrick Mahomes, and I don't have anything against the 49ers. These are two good football teams, well deserving of being in the Super Bowl. Does it hurt me that the Saints not in the Super Bowl? Absolutely. Do I have the same interest in the Super Bowl as if the Saints were in it? Absolutely not. But, these guys won. They won fair and square. You can't deny it. The San Francisco 49ers dominated in the postseason. The Kansas City Chiefs showed a lot of resolve in their game. So they're on a collision course. And it's good to, see a new Super Bowl with new characters instead of the same old suspects like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So I can get down with that. I understand how you feeling, Tamara. I wish the Saints were in it, but, I'm not that upset like I was last year when they should have been in it. Mike Gilmore, I've been saying this for years. We need and can run the ball. Peyton is his own worst enemy. He always feels like he has to prove he's better than he does, and that's throwing the football. We have to run first, pass second. Mike, absolutely. Thank you very much for your comment. It's very important for us to understand that, once again, and I'm going to say this as many times as somebody comment about the running game, we are not going anywhere if they don't do what? Run the football. And he doesn't want to run the football. He doesn't want to commit to the run. I don't care what anybody says. He just don't want to do it. The reason why the Saints don't run the football is because Sean Payton doesn't want to do it. He out-schemes himself. Who cares if you're that good, if you're that guy, if your team is that good, why does it matter if you run the football? If you are that good as an offensive-minded coach, if you feel like you can do anything to put your team in a position to win, why not run the football? I just don't get it. Throwing the ball all over the place, aerial attack and all that, that's cool. Once again, it's going to make people excited. It's going to have you dancing around your living room. It's going to have you, grabbing an umbrella out your closet doing the Benson boogie. But at the end of the day, what does it give you? Man, God bless him. Drew Brees, all these statistical records, passing yards, completions, touchdowns. But at the end of the day, what does it really mean? What does it really mean? Like, records are made to be broken. The way the NFL is going right now, the way that it's structured, in a couple of years, Patrick Mahomes is going to have those records. People like Deshaun Watson might have those records. Guys like Carson Wentz might have those records. There's nothing, between all of these rules they have in place. These records are going to be made to be broken. What is your legacy? And right now, I hate to say it, man, but the Saints, right now, their legacy is going to be close but no cigars. That's what it's going to be. They're going to be overachieving underachievers. That's the narrative right now. They overachieve in the regular season and underachieve in the postseason. What are you going to do? Honestly, man, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you're throwing a football all over the place, over and over and over and over again, and yeah, when you get to the postseason, you trying to do the same thing, you ain't generating no results. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, run the football, have a balanced attack. Not allowing teams to know what you're trying to do as soon as they get off the bus. Like, throwing the ball all over the place. Stopping the clock because the ball is incomplete, stretching the games out, giving these teams that shouldn't even be in games with you hope. Like, run the football, control the time of possession. Tick, 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 tick. First down, run the football. Saints, first down, pass the football. Second down, pass the football. Third down, halfback draw. Like, what is you doing, man? What is you doing? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. Sean Payton, I'm going to be honest with you. You can tell when the Saints are going to run the football and they're going to commit to the run in a game. This is what's going to happen. The first play from scrimmage, they're going to hand the ball off. And if Alvin Kamara or Latavius Murray don't get 5 or 6 yards, you can kiss the running game goodbye for the rest of the game. If they run the football and they get a -1 yard or they get 1 yard or they get, 2 yards, he going to just suspend the running game for the rest of the game. He just too impatient, man. That is his biggest fault. That is his biggest shortcoming, that he is just completely impatient. And the Saints, they suffer because of it. It's just the truth. They suffer because of his impatience. And honestly, man, you got a lot of good running backs, with the New Orleans Saints whose careers are going to suffer because he don't commit to it. Look what Mark Ingram is doing out there in Baltimore. He had what, like 13 touchdowns, maybe even close to 14 touchdowns out there. Just imagine if Sean Payton was to commit to the run like the Baltimore Ravens would do, how successful Mark Ingram could have been. Mark Ingram could have been, a first-team All-Pro. Honestly, I feel like he stunt the growth of some of these guys that come in. Allow these guys to go out there and perform at a high level. Let these guys go out there and run the football. Latavius Murray, he has the tendency of being a really good running back, but we'll never see it because Sean Payton too busy trying to worry about throwing the ball down the field and trying to talk about tempo with Drew Brees. Not cool, man. Honestly, you're hurting your 41-year-old quarterback because you squandering the little short time that he have left not having a balanced attack. Straight up. Tommy Lee Lewis and Deontay Harris even again. Zone runs and swing passes like the 49ers. Man, check this out, Gerard. Like, you have all these swing passes and stuff like that. That's cool, man. But at the end of the day, the Saints offense don't scare nobody. I know a lot of people think that, my content has been about Drew Brees and I've been dissing Drew Brees since the wild card round. I can care less, okay? Go back in the archives, you see what I feel about Drew Brees. I'm a straight shooter. I call it like I call it. The fact of the matter is this, man. Teams need to throw the ball down the field sometimes. The defense of different teams understand that the Saints not trying to throw the ball down the field because they understand that Drew Brees doesn't have the arm strength that he once did. And I feel like it is kind of stunting the growth of the offense. I feel like if you have a guy like Ted Ginn Jr., you still got them burners. Deontay Harris got them burners. I feel like you throw the ball down the field, I mean, you can't have the defense out there close to the line of scrimmage. You know what I'm saying? Because they play so close to the line of scrimmage when they play the Saints because they know Drew Brees, the passes ain't going nowhere. Okay, so all those screen passes and stuff like that, it kind of plays into the hands of the defense, Gerard, because they're already playing at the line of scrimmage. So if you throwing the ball on a swing pass, to any of these guys, I mean, you got all these guys in the box, they can just easily attack that guy. The problem is, the lack of explosive plays down the field because it keeps the defense humble. Right now, when teams play the Saints, the defense is not humble, because all they know is they got to just pin their ears back and go at Drew Brees because, number one, they know we ain't trying to run the football. And number two, they feel like if they get pressure in the face of Drew Brees because he's not a 6'4" quarterback, they can be able to disrupt him. And they feel like, Drew Brees, like you ever heard that old saying, you cut the head off, the body will follow. So they feel like Drew Brees is the head. You cut the head off, which is Drew Brees, the body, which is the team, is going to suffer. So, I mean, that's just a prime example right there, right? Like, think about this. As good as the running game is in some of these games, like if Drew Brees doesn't go out there and throw the football all over the place and they start getting pressure on them, the Saints are going to probably 9 times out of 10 lose that football game because teams understand, like, all we got to do is just stop this dude right here. All we got to do is just stop Drew, because if Drew ain't playing his best, if he looks rattled, then the team is going to look rattled. Okay, so, and that comes from not running the football. Good morning, Who Dat Nation. Wait, what's going on, Tamisha? Thank you very much for checking us out. We are very predictable. Yeah, we do have a predictable offense. Number one, it starts with the fact that Drew Brees is constantly throwing the ball to Michael Thomas. No disrespect to Michael Thomas. He's incredible. He catches everything that Drew Brees throws at him. He throws a post at him. He catches him a slant. He catches it. A 10 and in. He catches it. A post. He catches it. The flu. He catches it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he catches it all. You know what I'm saying? Chicken pox, all that. But at the end of the day, when teams know that you're just going to throw it to one guy, it's predictable. When you know that, you're just going to try to throw a screen out to Alvin Kamara, it's predictable. When you know that Ted Ginn Jr. is only in the game to run a 9 route, which is a streak route, which is running straight up the field, and you know that Drew Brees doesn't have the arm strength, it's predictable. If you know that all you got to do is just jam Traquan Smith, it's predictable. If you know that Latavius Murray is not going to run the football, it's predictable. If you know that all you got to do is just stop the Saints early in the game from getting positive yards and Sean Payton is going to just completely throw the running game out the window, it's predictable. If you know that throwing the ball down the field as a quarterback, the Saints secondary is going to get smoked like brisket, burnt like a biscuit, it's predictable. If you know that all you got to do is double team Cam Jordan and nobody else is going to be able to get pressure on your quarterback, it's predictable. So absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Tamisha. They are very, very predictable. The problem is the Saints just need to switch it up. And I said this again. I said this before and I say it again. Pete Carmichael is too much like Sean Payton. There are too many guys in a room that are just alike. Too many oranges in a group and not enough apples, okay? Too many people are just the same. Honestly, man, like, think about this. Sometimes, life can get a little stagnant, right? Like, if you've been at the same job for the past 10, 12 years, you've been doing the same thing for the past 10, 12 years, it gets a little stagnant. You probably like your job. You probably enjoy what you're doing. But sometimes you might just need to change it up a little bit. You might go in and, do a certain job. You might end up doing, your 5th task. You might end up doing that 4th. And your 3rd task, you might end up doing that 1st. You try to change it up to try to make it, make it spontaneous. You know what I'm saying? Make it exciting. And I feel like that's what the Saints. You got too many guys just like each other in that group. And I feel like the Saints need to get somebody else that has a different mind frame, that has a different way of thinking. You need to put him in that room and, and maybe you can change it up and come up with some different ideas. But you got too many guys that are just like each other in that room. So I feel like Pete Carmichael needs to go. Pete Carmichael, in my opinion, I don't understand it. I don't understand how this man ain't never been called for a head coaching job. I don't understand how this guy ain't never, ended up like getting another opportunity for doing something much bigger than just being an offensive coordinator. I just don't get it. Maybe people just think that he has absolutely nothing to do with the Saints offense. They feel like it's more Sean Payton and he just just a guy who has a role. I kind of feel like that's the same thing they feel like with Eric Bieniemy out there in Kansas City. Reason why he ain't end up getting no head coaching job because they feel like it's more Andy Reid than Bieniemy. But somebody need to get him up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Somebody need to, call him or something like that. That's the only reason I feel like the Saints are ever going to get rid of Pete Carmichael is somebody offer him a head coaching job. But they need to find some other way and some other guy in that room because too many guys are alike. You know what I'm saying? Too many oranges, once again, and not enough apples. Let's see. I feel like they have to do is play zone on us since we can't go deep. Yep. And we don't run the ball. Running the ball helps the entire team, even the defense. Yep. Yeah, Mike. It controls the time of possession. That's very, very important. It shortens the game. I feel like a lot of times the Saints are in close games is because of the way that they play. It's the way the team is structured. You know what I'm saying? Like, you throwing the ball all over the place. You throw the ball, complete, incomplete, stop the clock. Complete, incomplete, stop the clock. So in the process, a 3.5 hour game, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, can end up just being almost 4 hours. And it's giving these teams opportunities to go out there and actually, give them the confidence to believe that they still in the game. Too many heart attack games going on in New Orleans for me, man, for my liking. I think that they need to, kind of change it up, man. Be a more physical football team. Let's see. Predictable is why Zimmer outcoached Payton. I agree with that to a certain extent. I think it had a lot to do, too, with the fact that they know each other. They best friends. They're best friends, man. They talk and they hang out in the all season, so they kind of know each other. And both of them served on the coaching staff with Bill Parcells. Sean Payton was the offensive coordinator. Zim was the defensive coordinator. So they understand each other's tendencies. But the problem is, like you said, the predictability of it's the predictability of Sean Payton and the unpredictability of Zimmer, which end up winning this game for the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are, a disciplined defensive team. And I got to give a lot of respect to Mike Zimmer. I mean, he's not one of those guys that allows his ego to dominate him. He was humble enough to go and pull up that Atlanta Falcon game and change up his defense, put his most elite pass rushers on the inside and going up against slower offensive linemen in order for them to win the matchup in order to get pressure on Drew Brees. That's a guy that actually watched the game, became humble, said, okay, we're going to approach it like this, because I'm pretty sure he probably had a game plan. Because, before the Saints played the Minnesota Vikings last year, it wasn't like Drew Brees lit it up. He had 120 yards passing in that game. It was more like Kirk Cousins turning the ball over was one of the reasons why Minnesota lost that game in the first place. P.J. Williams with the pick six, a forced fumble. Stuff like that. Drew Brees didn't do nothing in this game. He didn't do nothing in that Week 8 game. So, I think it was the predictability of Sean Payton and the unpredictability of Coach Zimmer. Let's see. To piggyback off what you said, when we played the Falcons in the Dome, Drew was sacked 6 times. Okay, the Falcons took Drew out, which threw the team off. Yeah, because people on that team they too much rely on Drew Brees. And, I was so excited when Drew went down. Not that he went down, you know what I'm saying? Like, not because he got hurt. No, don't get me wrong. I was excited because it made guys dig into themselves. And I'm about to tell y'all the reason why I feel why the New Orleans Saints will be all right if Drew Brees retire. And I think a lot of people aren't paying attention to this. And people, come and they ask me, how are you so confident about that? The thing about it is, have you ever, played a sport and you end up, hurting yourself? You know what I'm saying? Hurting your index finger, for example. You ever played basketball and shot a ball or something like that and somebody, pull your finger back in the spring? Like, did you ever like you never realize how important, you know what I'm saying, like a finger is until you actually get hurt, right? You never realize that. So when it heals, it's like, man, you know what I'm saying? It feels much better. You never understood like how important it is. Like you might try to pick something up and you're like, dang, that hurt. You know what I'm saying? And you realize like how much that finger actually impacts your everyday life. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, what do? You know what I'm saying? You compensate for it. You know what I'm saying? So you think about ways of not being able to use that finger so you can relieve some of the pressure off. And I say that to say this. Because Drew Brees went down, Drew Brees for years has been that guy, you know what I'm saying, that old reliable guy. And he kind of hid the imperfections of a lot of players on that team. And it caused a lot of guys to step up and look within themselves and play on a high level. The defense played much better. I mean, that was probably one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen from the Saints in years. The running game got better. Guys that was, role players was out there stepping up. And, that showed me, like, if these guys really want to, if they really, really stepped it up, they can really, really be successful, man. They can really, really be good. So I feel like that was one of the best things that we seen in the Who Dat Nation, because we seen what this team could possibly be, not being Drew Brees reliant. So I say that to say this, Tamisha. When the Falcons beat up on the Saints, that should have been a way for them to step up. They should have stepped up. You know what I'm saying? It should have been like, okay, Drew not having it today. You know what I'm saying? The running game should have stepped up. The defense should have stepped up. But I just feel like, when he came back, it's like everybody like, okay, everything's fine again. You know what I'm saying? My finger is working again. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to worry about using my other fingers to lift this up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to worry about the pain no more. It's like guys like took steps back when in reality, I feel like the Saints, the way they were playing, they shouldn't have lost another game. Let's see. Morning, TJ. Do you think they'll keep Jack Rabbit and let Apple go? Keytree, yes, I do. I feel like they're going to try to find ways to keep Janoris Jenkins, rather it be give him most of his contract up front or stretching it out over a certain amount of time. I don't think Eli Apple is coming back. Eli Apple, man, soft. He's soft. I'm sorry, folks. Call it for what it is. He's soft. Soft as cottonelle tissue. Wears emotions on his sleeve. Too transparent for my liking. Mama too involved in his life. I just feel like she fight most of his battles. You can easily get in his head, and that's a recipe for disaster. Jack Rabbit, I like his confidence. I like his swag. I think he is the answer, the opposite of Marshawn Lattimore. I do feel like the Saints need to maybe draft another cornerback in the draft. They'll probably try to pick somebody up in the offseason, but I would try to keep Jack Rabbit. I'd be high surprised they let him go. But Eli Apple, I'm pretty sure he on his way out. I mean, they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. That tells you everything you need to know. That's team's way of saying, okay, you know what I'm saying, you got to prove it to us. He didn't prove it, and I feel like he's probably on his way out. But I don't think anybody else has any more questions. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast live. If you have not followed the State of the Saints podcast on YouTube, go to youtube.com, search State of the Saints podcast. Also, a new podcast, a spinoff of the State of the Saints, is called the State of the Game podcast. So the State of the Game podcast, y'all probably seen me like sharing videos inside the State of the Saints podcast group. It's a spinoff of the State of the Saints podcast where we talk all sports, okay? I post like different videos because, even though we love the Saints, we love sports as well. We like hearing about different other teams and stuff like that as well, other sports. So I just thought that the State of the Game would actually, show, my, way of being able to switch things up just a tad bit, is try to expand my knowledge of the world of sports. I just love sports. I love talking about sports. My first love is the Saints, of course, but I love talking about the game in general. So if you can, please follow the State of the Game podcast on YouTube, youtube.com, search The State of the Game, and also on facebook.com, search State of the Game. So please support me, as I try to grow the State of the Game podcast brand. And, just check out some of the videos I'm doing. It's going to be the same format, me just sitting, behind, in front of the camera, I should say, and just talking about different teams instead of, some of the Saints news. But don't be discouraged because I'm still going to be talking Saints. That's not going to change. It's just, I'm just trying to just expand a little bit, man, and just get more content out there. So y'all please support me. I'm not one of them people that's, not too humble and not too, it's full of myself to ask anybody, please help, me push this because you all are the reason why, this whole podcast has taken off. And, some of the little successes I've had knowing this is because of you all. And I thank you for that. So the State of the Game podcast on YouTube and also on Facebook, please follow. Let's see. Carl came in. He says, Saints ran Murray 6 times, decided to use Cook late in the game, and Deontay Harris needs to be a starter. So Deontay Harris, it depends on if he's going to take that next step. Emmanuel Butler, don't forget about him, man. I've been watching him in all season. This guy's been training like a madman. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do in training camp. The Saints also signed back Tommy Lee Lewis, which I'm about to do a video about that, give y'all my opinion on Tommy Lee. And let's see, I'm interested to see what Emmanuel Butler going to do. I kind of lost my train of thought because I was looking at it. So this podcast will go away or it will be both. I'm doing both, Angela. State of the Saints podcast not going anywhere. State of the Saints podcast is my first love. The State of the Game is just, just for a more, broader audience because, the reason I ended up doing the State of the Saints is because I feel like there was lack of content, about the Saints. I feel like the Saints were a really good team, but people wanted to talk about the Cowboys and the Eagles and teams that the Saints was beating out the frame year after year. So I wanted a Saints podcast. One, because, I feel like this is where my passion is. But the State of the Saints isn't going anywhere. It's going to be here to stay. But the State of the Game, once again, is just talking about, all sports. Some of the hottest topics in sports, basketball, because, I like basketball too, man. I've really been following it, since the Pelicans been, they drafted Zion Williamson and stuff like that. I really be wanting to talk about those type of things. And, my basketball knowledge isn't as strong as my football knowledge, but I got people that really love the sport, that really follow the sport well. So y'all going to be on the lookout for them. One person in particular is my guy, Brandon Thompson. He's going to be my official New Orleans Pelicans correspondent, so to speak. He's going to be the one that's, giving us the news about the Pelicans because not only is he a fan, but he gets a front row seat. He actually works for the Smoothie King Center and he works inside of the Superdome. So he gets, to watch some of these Saints games and these Pelican games up close and personal. And he has a really good football and basketball mind. So I'm interested to, see what he has to say. And I know you guys are going to love his content, man. Very animated guy, very witty guy, but very knowledgeable guy. So y'all be on the lookout for him, man. Brandon Thompson, man. He's going to be the official New Orleans Pelican correspondent, for the State of the Game. Good. I will follow both. I watch all games as well. Thank you very much, Angela. I really do appreciate that. But once again, this is the State of the Saints podcast. My name is TJ Jones. Thank you all for your love and your support. Thank you for submitting your questions. You can always do so by inboxing me as well. You can inbox me. You probably have a question later on, and you may want to ask me. You never know. I'm always looking for different topics to do on video. So if you have an idea, a suggestion of a show or a video that you want me to do, a player or anything like that, man, this show is for you all. You know what I'm saying? This is your show. I'm not one of those people that just so arrogant, once again, to a point where I feel like, I don't know why this is as successful as it is and why is it growing the way that it is. It's because of you all. And I'll never forget that. We may not agree all the time. Some people think that, certain things about, my opinions and stuff like that, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I have much love and respect for each and every one of you. And thank you all so much. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?